Hello and welcome to the Recursion Cafe, where we play games from the discard pile. In today's game of Unmatched, we have myself on the left and Paul on the right. I am playing Spider-Man, a solo hero with 3 movement and 15 health. He's melee. His ability is his spider sense, of course. When the opponent attacks you, they have to declare the printed value on the attack card before you play a defense card, so you can sense what's coming, although you may not know what it is exactly. On the right, Paul is playing She-Hulk, a solo hero also with 20 health and 2 movement. At the start of her turn, she can throw something at an opponent where she discards a card and does damage equal to the boost value on that card. Notably, her deck is mostly 1s and 2s. There is the 3, which is a Savage She-Hulk, which is the potential for 9 damage in one swing. So not always something you want to throw, but it's still 3 auto damage across the room, pretty much. So opening turns, we both double maneuver. I try and stay a long way away so that she has the boost to come to me because she went first. We are playing in the Sanctum Sanctorum, so a whole bunch of weird and wacky battlefield items to play with, and 2+1s and a +2. So She-Hulk will indeed boost with a Lady Justice to come up to me and take a swing. And it looks like my spider sense is telling me that it's a 1, so we know that has to be a cease and desist. But it's actually a 4 cancel on offense, so I decided to play Snark instead. I don't really mind the card draw at this point, and it was one of the kind of more solid defense cards in my hand. I could have played the 2 Spider Sense Tingling, but I would have just taking more damage, which is not good. So we'll use the scheme, the Brazier of Goliath, I think, is that how you say that, to find with great power from my deck. So I draw a card from that and gain an action, and all my attacks are +1. And will attack with a swing kick into a Legalese. So that's 5 damage straight off the bat. We do remember the ability this time, so Legalese does have a clause where we can choose it, well, where Paul can choose if he lost a combat if we draw a card or discard a card. Looking back, I probably should have played Swing and Kick second, because that would have kicked She-Hulk across the room. But I don't know why I swung with that first. I think I was just excited to play it. And so I think Paul decides we both draw a card, and I'll attack again, and it's a right in the face for 5 value into a Nerve Cluster Strike. So there's Paul making sure I can't run away, but me pushing 2 damage through. So opening engagement, She-Hulk is down from 20 to 13 health, and I've only taken 1 point of damage. That seems good, although that could have been ordered a bit better. But we'll see how it plays out. Here is a immediate throw of a mega level threat for 2 damage. So I'm not terribly sad to see a 5 go, but 2 auto damage is nothing to sniff at. There's a double jeopardy for 2 card draw and 2 healing. So already She-Hulk is back to 15, and I'm down to 12. And here's the attack, it's a 5, and we know that is an Omega level threat as I check right there. So I know that I'm probably going to have to discard 2 random cards from hand, unless I have a 4 defense. And of course I just played one, which looking back again was pretty silly. So here's a counter attack. I will take 2 damage and discard 2 random cards. At the very least, I managed to do 2 damage back to Paul. The thing with Spider-Man is like knowing what's coming is half the battle because you have no cancels. So you just have to make the best of it, especially when you know what's coming. So I'll decide to maneuver away to the +2 item and try and get some space. Paul will play double jeopardy, so draw 2 cards and recover 2 health once again. That is both healing cards out of the deck, but it means She-Hulk is still at 15 after everything I've done so far, so that's not great. There's Jennifer Waters Esquire, place She-Hulk in a starting space, very sneakily right next to the item that I'm standing by. Draw a card, gain an action. So here's what's likely to be a follow-up attack, and it's a 4 value. So this could be one of 2 things. It could be green energy or it could be sensational She-Hulk. I'm trying to hedge my bets against trying to make the most of it and defend against both. So I'll use the +2, and it's a counter attack for 5 value, defending the sensational so that Paul doesn't get his recursion, and I do 2 damage back to him. So I think that was about the best I could make of that setup. And I'll swing back and attack. Here it is, it's a Spider Sense Tingling into a defense rest. So sadly, no one gets any card draw at all, but I think it was kind of a bit of a bluff both ways, to be honest. And then I'll maneuver away and stand by the other item. And thematically, I'm just running all over the place, trying to use everything in my environment to get me an advantage over this gigantic She-Hulk. So we'll run over to the other battlefield item, we'll use all of them, and we'll hit with a 6 value momentous shift into a defense rest. So that is 4 damage through, but then Paul gets to draw 4 cards. Now here is where I realise I've made yet another mistake. I've ended my turn right next to a She-Hulk, and I had a Web Shooters in hand, but it got discarded by the a Mega level threat earlier. So now I'm standing next to She-Hulk, who has 2 actions, who's just thrown a book at me, and is of course going to throw a 3 at me. Yeah, all the warning signs are going off, and there's not terribly a lot I can do about it. So here's a Savage She-Hulk for 9 into a Snark. So I get a card draw out of it, but I take 6 damage to the face, and I'm down to 2 health. So yeah, that swung things a little bit. And yeah, now it's 2 health to 9, and I just have to run, I think. So I will maneuver to the other corner of the map, and I'll play Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man to recover 3 health, and place him in a space in my zone, which is right next to me. So I'm up to 5, and I've got 1 more healing card left in my deck, so it's looking okay so far. Paul will boost in and hit with a 4. Again, this could be Green Energy or Sensational She-Hulk. I can't really stop him recurring that card unless I have the right in the face. So I tried to get away from the Green Energy with Wall Crawler, but of course it's Sensational, so I take the damage. Paul does get the recursion effect, but I get to at least get a head start on running away from She-Hulk, so I'll dance to the other side. And of course Paul will put a Savage She-Hulk back in the deck. Not only is that a big threat if I end my turn next to her, but also it's a 3 damage across the map. So we'll maneuver, and Paul will maneuver up and take a swing. It's a 3, it looks like, so that could be a bunch of things. Could be Nerve Cluster Strike, could be, oh there we are. So into a Mental Shift, I think that was the best defense card, best option I had in hand. So I do fully defend it, and I wasn't going to move away anyway, so no big deal there. 4 health to 9, and we haven't seen any Lady Justices yet, so that's going to be a thing. There's Disarming Shot into Green Energy, fully defended, and of course because She-Hulk won the combat, I take a damage. I think I just have to continue swinging, so we'll just keep trying to hit She-Hulk and hope she doesn't have a Nerve Cluster Strike. It's a swinging Web Kick into a Nerve Cluster Strike, so that's one way around it. I will do 3 damage, and I can't move, but it doesn't mean She-Hulk can't move, so I will kick She-Hulk across the room back to that corner that we keep returning to, which is a nice way, like in terms of inbox mechanics of how to get around that. So yeah, pretty interesting design. I don't know if they intended that, but it's a nice way to get around the cancellations of certain movement effects. It doesn't get around Terrifying Roar though, so that's something of note. I wanted to go and sit by the +1 item, but that's within throwing range of She-Hulk, so I just had to go away into the corner. Paul will of course chase me in with Leap Toward, which is a fantastic movement card for She-Hulk. It's really, really useful. And he'll gain an action and hit me with a 4. What might this be? Again, mostly Green Energy or Sensational. There's Sensational, and I did finally draw right in the face. So at the very least I could fully defend it and stop the recursion effect. But that's all my 4 defenses out of the deck, and yeah, I'm pretty vulnerable at 3 health. So we're swinging again. We've got to try and make it happen, swing for the fences in a way, and it's a Thwip into a Green Energy once again. I wish Thwip wasn't if you won the combat, because one of the most agile fighters in the game from a thematic point of view, and he has a conditional movement effect on attack. But anyway, I take the 1 damage and I just try and boost away. There's not much left I can do. I at least got out of throwing range, but of course She-Hulk can boost up to me and just take a swing. It's a 4. If it's a Green Energy, we're done. If it's actually, yeah, that has to be it. And here we are. It's a Green Energy. I take 1 damage and then I take the effect damage and die, and that's the game. Paul was holding on to a Lady Justice and was worried that if I milled the top card of my deck and it wasn't a good value, then I would bring him down to low health, which is true. But I think he had it as soon as I made that mistake of standing next to him and letting him draw 4 cards before he hit me with Savage She-Hulk. So really well played there by Paul. I clearly have a lot to learn playing as Spider-Man, but the ability is a lot of fun. I do wish his kit was a bit more solid. It seems a little bit limiting given the conditions and given his lack of cancels, but it is really nice to play with that Spider Sense. Thank you everyone for watching. See you next time.